reform and opening up since the beginning of 1978. Since 1978, there occurred a very important thing. That was Deng Xiaoping. Everybody knows Deng Xiaoping, right? That's a very, very famous leader. And Deng Xiaoping took the position of the leadership. And Deng Xiaoping initiated the policy. Under his leadership, China started deciding on the procedure of opening up and reform. There are two things: reform and opening up. Opening up means we have opened our door to the world, right? So the stages, the steps of opening up our doors. Actually, we started opening our doors from those coastal areas. Then, from the coastal areas, gradually to the inlands. Now, as long as you have the chance of going to the inland areas, you will find a lot of inland areas have opened their doors to the foreign countries, to the foreign investment. Okay, but it starts from those coastal areas of China. Okay, from coastal areas, then some ports like Tianjin. You will go to Tianjin, right? Tianjin is a port. Okay, like some ports, and then inland areas. Basically that's the kind of thing kind of way of opening up our door. And the other line is a reform. Actually, reform we could say reform started from the rural area. What does that mean? At that time, the peasants were living a separate society. Okay, so in 1978, the government decided to do the rural reform. Why? Because the government wanted to improve the productivity. In order to improve the productivity, a very important thing was the government needed to encourage those peasants to produce, right? In order to encourage their enthusiasm of production, the government decided to let them to keep their surplus products. Okay, so during the 1950s until the end of 1970s, actually within about 20 years, the peasants could not keep their supplies anymore. So they did not want to produce agricultural products. But after that, the government decided to change. The government said, okay, we initiated a policy called as cost contract system. So what does that mean? That means that the land was still owned by a group, right? But the group would sign a contract with the peasant whole separately, okay, one by one. And then as long as you could pay some agricultural taxes, so you could hand over part of your products, that would be okay. You could keep all the surplus products. Okay, so in that situation, peasants became very, very happy. That was a rural reform. Rural reform started in 1978. That was one line. After the rural reform started, the China focused too much on the other line. That was the industrial line. What does that mean? Industrial line, the Chinese government focused too much on the reform of state-owned enterprise. State-owned enterprise in the past, as I mentioned a moment ago, for the industrial area, of course, the industrial, for example, industrial enterprise would pay everything for their employees, but their employees could not get extra money. They just work and they get a very low pay. Okay, they have no enthusiasm of producing things, right? They feel unhappy. And in this situation, the government realized no. In the past, the government thought in the past and under the planned economic system, the government said, okay, the that way, such as an enterprise, you could produce, but you had to produce according to the plan. Okay? Because the whole country had a kind of